Hello friends, it's been a while. Let's build some shelving. This big wall here behind me is about 18 and a half, nearly 19 feet. So I'm going to do two 8-foot sections. Real simple. It's just going to be one shelf level all the way along. Kids are saying hi, come on up. As I was saying, the shelves are going to go all the way along the row. Run down, show them where it's going to end. That's right, I'm not sure if that's in frame. Run back. They're going to be, let's see, I want from the floor up to be about 30 inches, but down please, because my totes are about, at most, 15 inches tall. We're going to stack 2 there, shelf, and then 2 on top of that, because at most I've got about 68 inches from the floor to the top, so I'm squeezing it in this space. This is not the first time I've built shelves, so this is pretty much just a day project. I'll show you some of the other shelves. Here are some shelves. Here are some more shelves in the style that I'm going to do. We got some Legos here. Again, mine are going to be open with a floor here and then another shelf up. Here's some more shelves with wood and pantry items that needs to be organized. And then here's some shelves with games. Charlotte, wave hi! Somebody doesn't really like it when I talk to the camera and not them. Is that right? Oh, life is hard when you're almost 2. Anyways. When I was at Menards, I bought a sheet of 1/2-inch plywood and I ripped it in half, so I have 2 2x8s. I'm marking out all my cuts ahead of time now. These are going to be some supports underneath those 2x8s. And because my workshop is completely full, and this is the only tool I really have access to aside from my drill and driver, and I am not showing you the workshop. And there, that's only 12 cuts. Pretty easy. Happy about that. A little bit of mess. Love this little thing. Anecdotal time, I guess. I almost gave this away a couple years back because I have a much bigger and nicer one, but this certainly serves the job when you need to be portable and quick and you're just doing it in 2x4s. Everything is cut. Let's go through inventory of the 1/2-inch plywood 2x8s. We have 2 of them. I've got 8-foot 2x4s, 7 total. 3-foot 2x4s, 8 total. 2-foot 2x4s, 4 total. And 21-inch 2x4s, 8 total. I have an abundance of 3-inch triple-coated decking screws, of all things, from when I did my fence this year when I built it. So I'm going to be using those. I would use 3-inch no matter what, just because we're going into 2x4s. And I always drill a pilot hole and then I drive it in. But just fun fact, because of all the receipts that I saved when I did my fence this last summer, I got over like $430 in Menards cash. So the lumber for this comes to under $100. It was like 80 something. So it's free. It's paid for by the rebates of the last big project. So very satisfying. This is what the shelves are going to look like. Here's a nice 8-foot section. So now I will build one with you. To begin, we're going to lay down 2 of those 8-foot 2x4s parallel with one another, about 2 feet apart, and then we're going to slide that board on top of it. Now we position the 2x4s so that you've found a nice corner, right? Each of these I will drill and drive into the corner so that we've got those perfect. And once I've got my 4 corners done, I'll drill a hole going all the way along about every foot and drive them down. I have flipped the shelf over now and provided markings every 32 inches. That will divide this up so there's support at the origin, 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. Each of these will line up and get 2 screws from either end. There's a good chance you'll run into torsion in boards and things as you're putting these together, so grab yourself a mallet and just whack these into alignment. Voila. Now we flip it. In addition to the 2 screws going into those cross support boards, I'm going to put 2 screws down, splitting this in third for each of the middle and the end boards. The tricky part comes now in raising this and attaching it to the existing platform when you're just one person. With help, it's, a piece of cake. But without, I need some extra hands, aka some clamps. going to take some of these 3-foot boards that I have here. I'm going to clamp them approximately near the top on both ends, clamp them nice and tight, raise this section up by hand. Then I'm just going to clamp the bottom of this to the bottom of this, and then drive screws in from either end to make sure they are perfectly flush, right? That the boards just continue in one straight piece. Once they're screwed in here, I'll screw on these legs and I'll get this side done properly. Down here we are totally screwed in. That's nice and flush. Now our primary objective is to make sure it's level, which is not, right? It needs to raise up just a little bit here. So I'm going to take these off the clamps individually one by one, raise them up, make sure it's level, lock, and drive. I lose about 1.5 inches from there to here. It slopes down. That's why these stick out more over there, and they'll be relatively flush over here. It's more important for me personally to have this be level as opposed to exactly 30 inches or whatever from the base and sloping down. Something to keep in mind depending on your preferences. The final steps, once the legs are on, are to attach these cross pieces to keep the legs from going. And then, of course, on this side, I'll be screwing them together, just like I did up on the top. And lastly, I put the final 8-foot board sitting right over there, just along the top, right? We're not doing any diagonal bracing. That would increase strength, reduce rocking, but we're not applying force to this. That's rocking is going to be a problem. So this 8-foot board is just going to sit right next to that and go across. Won't be in the way of any of my totes, but it'll be good support to make sure the whole thing doesn't kip over. If you're building these yourself, you may now choose to take a saw and just axe off those front pieces. Over here, it just happened to be flush the way the leveling worked out. I've done both, but tonight I'm going to end by simply taking sandpaper and smoothing out all the edges that a person's hand and body might bump into. All right, I'm 6'5", 210 pounds. My cellar, as you can see, does not actually allow me to stand up, but I'm going to do a weight test for you. So here I am, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. A slight creak, no big deal. Yeah, these are going to hold up to anything that you put on them.